What up, gunfighters? You guys will know, first and foremost, if you're a regular listener to the podcast, I consider myself first and foremost a Christian. After that, a husband, hopefully a good steward of the resources God has given me. After that, I consider myself doing this podcast as my job. And then after that, I work as a private security contractor. One of the reasons I took this contract was supposed to be part-time so I could keep doing the podcast. I didn't want to give up on it because it wasn't even close to a full-time income. But that has gotten very hectic as of lately, and I've been working, I think last week I'll clock in well over 40 hours, not to mention the commute and the getting ready and putting on jungle boots and body armor and a war belt and all that stuff. A lot of hours. And normally and I've been doing that for weeks. I've been working a lot more than a part-time job and still trying to get out the podcast. And that's not an excuse, but I like to be several weeks ahead. I am not several weeks ahead, and my wife and I are going to Norway for a couple of weeks for a vacation. We are going on 6 years, and we have never had a honeymoon. So we thought it was probably time. I was trying to make the podcast full-time income, but now that I'm making a decent amount of money with the private security contracting, we haven't, again, been on a honeymoon. We had some money set aside when we got married. We put in a special account, put it in some Bitcoin, and we decided it was a good time to go to Norway. We planned this out quite a while ago before things got hectic at work. So all that said, you will be getting some reruns the next coming weeks. The good news is that I asked the Patreon page for some of their ideas for what they thought would be good reruns. So you'll be getting some of those. So just be patient with that. The podcast is not, God willing, is not going away, but I'm not several weeks ahead. Tomorrow was supposed to be my day off before we went on the trip, and I got called into work again tomorrow. So I won't even have time to get a couple more episodes recorded, probably with the regular audio setup. This is coming at you from the mobile phone because I'm doing it on my way home. So that said, I did get some questions for some extra content. I'm going to try and record those and do some scheduling tonight before I have to get up super early in the morning again and hit repeat. I'm blessed to have a job. I'm not complaining. I'm just letting you guys know the situation. If you guys want to help support the podcast so that when it comes up for shift bids, I can bid on less shifts, consider becoming a patron, mostly because you want to support the podcast. There's, let's be honest, plenty of gun content, plenty of the GunTube glitterati out there, but how many good, honest Christian channels that aren't taking sponsors, that aren't taking bribes, that aren't pushing you to spend, $1,200 on a $40 suppressor? If that's what you want to do, go ahead. Or telling you to buy the next latest and greatest thing you probably don't need. There's plenty of that out there. If you want to support that stuff, go ahead. If you want to support a small business, one, what was that old slogan? Army of one. That was before I was in the Army. Before I was even in the Marine Corps. But podcast of one, right? God first and foremost, and I'm the only employee of the podcast. Small, veteran-run, American business, all the buzzwords, right? Sustainably harvested. No dolphins were harmed in this particular episode. So if you want to support, consider becoming a patron. Just some housekeeping there. Let's get into, I should throw out, you shall not muzzle the ox while it treads out the grain. This podcast is work. I do enjoy recording and getting content out there for you guys, but I don't enjoy editing and scheduling and all that stuff. So, again, if you want to support, consider becoming a patron. Either way, enjoy the content, whether you support it or not. If you have it in your heart to give. If not, don't, and don't feel guilty about it. With that, let's get into some questions. Dirty Dots recently did a episode on whether you should put a dot on your handgun or not, a red dot, an optical sight, and one of the guys said that he couldn't keep his dot clean enough to use, and I find that perplexing because you ask my wife, I am not exactly an indoor cat. I am very much rugged and dirty and, like to be outside, and that's kind of my thing. And I've been using dots hardcore for years, and although they get dirty, I've never, ever gotten one so dirty that I couldn't use it. And this brings up a fact of occluded sights. you can, and this is a technique for training that really high-level top shooters use, to encourage you to shoot with both eyes open and shoot quickly. You can literally, whether it's like an ACOG or a red dot sight, you can literally put a piece of tape over the entire front of your sight so that you can't see through it and still use it and get effective hits on target. It's called occlusion. So I don't know what's going on there, but if you're just kind of OCD, and I'm OCD about some stuff, but if you expect your optical sight on your handgun, your carry gun, to be spick and span clean, it's not going to be. But I've never, I don't think ever seen one from living from Florida to Alaska that was so dirty that I couldn't use it. Sometimes would I like it to be cleaner? Yeah. Would I like it to be a little bit more dry? Would I like it to be a little bit more or a little bit less splashback from lube and stuff off my gun on the front of the sight? I would, but I can still use it. I've never seen one so dirty I couldn't use it. So I don't know what's going on there, but if you're rocking an optic on a handgun that's hard use, it's probably going to be dirty. But I'd hate to see one so dirty you couldn't use it. Maybe you could get one that got like some debris in the projection of the lens. Like you could just get something just perfectly in there where it didn't project. Maybe. I haven't seen that. But it probably is possible. But other than that, like just the lenses being dirty, they'd have to be like painted. And even then you'd have to paint the inside and the outside because occlusion is the thing and you can still shoot both eyes open with an occluded sight. So I don't know what's going on there, but you should be able to shoot dirty or not with the optical sight. Call this the down and dirty episode, maybe. The next one, dirty bore versus clean bore. This got posed in the group chat, which you could opt in if you wanted to on Patreon. But there can potentially be a very big difference in cold bore versus a clean bore in your shooting, especially with like rifle and more precision shooting. So, which do I prefer? I prefer a dirty bore. If you're going to store your rifle for long-term storage, yeah, maybe clean the bore, but shoot it. This is what I would do when I was a guide, when I was guiding. If I didn't know how long till the next hunt, I would clean my rifle, clean the bore, but then before I'd go out on a hunt, I would shoot a round to make the bore dirty. And that is my number one preference. You could have a clean bore 0 and just clean the bore every single time you shot the rifle, literally every shot, and figure out your clean bore 0, but then you only get the one shot, which hopefully you only need one shot, and maybe your finishing shot, you're like, well, it's going to be quick, so I don't care. I'm not telling you you're wrong, but clean bore and dirty bore can give you dramatically different points of aim and points of impact. So for me, I prefer my rifle dope on a dirty bore. That way, as long as the bore is dirty, it should shoot point of aim, point of impact, until the point at which my barrel gets so hot that my point of impact shifts, which is also a thing, right? So I prefer a dirty bore 0. You do you. I would really caution against that if it's any kind of tactical rifle, a clean bore 0, because you only get one shot, and a lot of times in a tactical scenario, it'd be great if you only needed 0 shots or 1 shot, but you may need a lot of shots. The reason, right, why ARs and AKs are prolific on the battlefield today. So I don't see the logical reason for zeroing on a clean barrel. So anyway, that's my thoughts on the clean bore versus dirty bore. It was a good question. I thought it could use some sussing out here. I talk a lot about full-size fighting handgun, full-size fighting handgun, full-size fighting handgun. Carry a man-size combat fighting handgun. Somebody recently asked me if I thought, I think they asked me if I thought the Glock 19, maybe they asked me something similar, but here's the question I'm going to pose. Is the Glock 19 a full-size fighting handgun? No, it's not. It is by Glock's own definition not a full-size handgun. It is a compact handgun. How far have we fallen that the Glock 19 would be considered a fighting handgun? It is a compact. It is their compact gun. It is like the compact car. It's not a full-size car. It's not a Ford F-150. It's a Prius. It's a compact handgun. Treat it as such. Is it better than a subcompact? Yeah. Is it better than a Glock 43? Well, lots of things are better than a Glock 43. That's a micro 9. That's a baby gun. But the Glock 19 is a mid-size. It is not a full-size fighting handgun. It is what it is. Is it a decent full mid-size handgun? No. Just made a bunch of people mad. It was decent in the mid-90s. But it is a very, very mediocre mid-size handgun with a mushy, lackluster trigger, horrible ergonomics, and decent reliability. If we're talking soberly, that's what it is. But it's a compact handgun. By Glock's own definition, it's a compact. It's not a full size. Here's a philosophical question I have to pose to you guys. Is your gun a good gun? And here's how I would like you to think about that circumspectly. Is your gun a good gun for what you're using it for in your situation? Okay? What is the purpose you want this thing to accomplish? If you look at a gun as a tool. Now, if you're a collector and you just want a beautiful gun, right, is the Ruger #1 stainless steel International 257 Roberts, if that gun even exists, a beautiful gun? Oh yeah, gorgeous gun. So if you're looking at beauty collector value, that's a good gun for you there. If you're talking about a gun as a tool, as a practical survival tool, defensive tool, is this gun good for what it is? Is the Ruger 1022 takedown a decent takedown, fit into a small pack, semi-auto 22 survival gun? If the 22 takedown survival gun is the criteria and yours is reliable and accurate, then yeah, that's a good gun for you. But you should pose this question to yourself. Is the Thompson Center Contender a good gun for silhouette shooting with a handgun? Yeah, great for that. It's a great gun for that. Is it a good concealed carry gun? No, it's a horrible concealed carry gun. Is your gun a good gun? What is your criteria? Let's say for a concealed carry handgun, can you get dependable, accurate, quick first, second, third round hits on target? It's a pretty simple metric. Or is there possibly a gun that would do that better that you could carry, that you'd be willing to carry? So just, is your gun a good gun? And to answer that, what is that gun for you? And I thought it would be fun to wrap this up with a poll that I had on Patreon. Let's take a look. The most American 4th of July food. The most American 4th of July food. What do you guys think? I posted a bunch of questions on here, or a bunch of different categories rather. Hamburger, hot dog, steak, ribs, fried chicken, apple pie, ice cream, watermelon, strawberry shortcake, potato salad. Now, these are different categories of food, but the number one pick was hamburger. The number one with 8. The next highest was ribs at 7. And then fried chicken only got 5. Steak only got 3. And then coming up pretty high in the dessert category, the number one pick for dessert was apple pie. I can't disagree with that. Strawberry shortcake only got 2, which I thought was surprising. If you guys want to know my votes, I voted steak because I'm a red-blooded man. I voted steak, fried chicken, and apple pie, watermelon, strawberry shortcake for the most American dishes there. And for like a starch aside, if you are going to slum it and eat bread, I put biscuits. But anyway, the most per vote was hamburgers, and then apple pie, ribs. Those got the most votes. So if you wanted to know the most American 4th of July food, it's settled science. Take that, vegans. Just kidding. You can listen if you're a vegan. I appreciate you guys. Appreciate all that you do. Thanks. Hopefully you enjoy the recycled content. See, look, I'm eco-friendly. I'm recycling podcast content. So consider this your sustainably harvested podcast, Gunfighter Life. Thanks for listening and have a blessed day.